Hey guys, and welcome to ScIQ. Watching the Democratic debate last night, I was so pissed off that the first question they asked Hillary Clinton was about her emails, and I totally understand Bernie saying, shut the up on this issue, please can we talk about something more substantive.
Enough of the emails. Let's talk about the real issues facing America.
There's so many other things that are way more important, and here's some of the issues I think they should have been discussing in that time instead of talking about her emails again. Number one is public funding for science and technology. Now, Barack Obama talked about this a lot in his debates, but it wasn't articulated at all. And this is despite the fact that people like Ted Cruz have been cutting funding from NASA for its sin of doing earth science. And oh, wow, we discovered that, yeah, if you burn oil, you're going to cause climate change. Sorry, NASA, we're going to cut your budget for that. So on one hand, we've got the Republicans totally attacking and denying science, denying well-proven facts like climate change and the fact that vaccinations are good for our kids. And then on the other hand, we have the Democrats saying absolutely nothing in response. So I would have loved some questions about the role of science or addressing the things that Republicans have said. Any questions about how science and evidence should be used to make good political decisions. The number two issue I would have loved to have heard more about is climate change. Now, they did discuss climate change, but it was all like, yes, I believe in climate change. I believe it's caused by humans. Yeah, we know, we get it. You're the Democrats. You actually listen to scientists. What I want to know is, what are you going to do about it? Because in this country, we have a huge reliance on fossil fuels and a very powerful coal and oil lobby. And internationally, we have countries like China and India going, fuck you, I'm not going to do anything about climate change. So it's a really complicated and difficult issue, and it's going to take some very strong leadership to do anything about. So I would have loved to have heard any of the candidates articulate a plan to address climate change on a domestic and global level. Number three issue was vaccinations. Now, in the Republican debate, vaccinations were a huge issue. In the Democratic debate, they weren't mentioned at all. And I think this is because we all know that Democrats support vaccinations in general, but they didn't do anything to address the fact that there's going to be continuing pressure on the government to allow free choice in whether or not we vaccinate our children. So we didn't hear anything about vaccinations as an ongoing public health issue. Those anti-vaxxers are not going away anytime soon. So I would have loved a question on what the Democrats are going to do about people who refuse to vaccinate their children. Now, number four is sexual health. Now, there were not any direct questions about a woman's right to choose or sexual health. Hillary Clinton did hint at it, and she got a huge round of applause.
They don't mind having big government to interfere with a woman's right to choose and to try to take down Planned Parenthood. They're fine with big government when it comes to that. I'm sick of it.
But the thing is, this is a huge issue, and it's currently going through the Supreme Court. It's going to be an ongoing political issue. So I would have loved to have heard any questions about what are we going to do as president about the ongoing attacks to Planned Parenthood, to women's right to choose, to women's sexual health, and what are we going to do about these statistics like, we know that free contraception lowers the abortion rate and lowers the teen pregnancy rate, and yet free contraception is not available to many women in America. What are we going to do about the fact that sexual education is only mandated in 22 states in the United States, and in those states, most of them don't even require that the information given to children is medically accurate? What are we going to do about the ongoing attacks on Planned Parenthood and a woman's right to choose? I didn't hear any questions about those issues, and I would have loved to have seen the candidates' response. But what do you think were the main issues that should have been discussed instead of Hillary's emails? There was a lot that were missed out. It was only 2 hours of debates. Let us know in the comments below which questions you'd like to ask the candidates, and we'll feature them in a future video. Hi everyone, I'm Jayde Lovell, resident science nerd on the Young Turks Network. You're watching ScIQ, and we know you don't want to miss an episode, so please click the subscribe button down